So I feel a little bit awkward talking about and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street because I've only been able to watch this silently. Somebody uploaded it to YouTube without the audio, and part of me thought, will I discuss it? But actually, yes, I will, because there were aspects of it that I thought were really great. But if you know anywhere where I can watch the full version with the audio, please let me know. I kind of couldn't miss it out because I am reviewing every nominee for the Best Animated Short Oscar. This one was nominated. It was nominated for but did not win the 1944 award. It was directed by George Pal, based on the book by Dr. Seuss, and this is a Puppetoon adaptation. I've seen a few Puppetoons, and as I've said before, I don't like Puppetoon's style. I'm not a fan of that kind of animation. To be quite honest, I find it a little bit eerie. But at the same time, the editing in this I thought was really good, particularly given that it was in the 40s and some similar films were not that very well edited. So, in case you're unaware of the narrative, and I wasn't, I didn't grow up reading Dr. Seuss, there's a lot that I've missed out on. This is about a boy called Marco who is discussing a parade of imaginary characters and cars travelling along this Mulberry Street in this big fantasy narrative. Um, so that's basically what we see on screen is the fantastical imagery of these really beautiful characters. We have individuals playing the trumpet, this huge elephant float, I guess, and visually, I think it's a great achievement. The backdrops that are used are really compelling. They're very well done. I'm not sure how they were constructed. I imagine the backdrops are made of cardboard, but if anybody knows anything more technical, please feel free to let me know. I think it is a really great visual achievement. As I said, there was no audio, so I can't comment on the delivery of the narrative or the dialogue that was used and whether or not it was word for word the same as Dr. Seuss's book. But for the most part, the visuals were really good fun. And if a short film can carry itself based just on the visuals without any audio descriptors or music, then that's doing pretty well. So I can only assume that it's even better once you have the story to go with it. And that's coming from me as somebody who doesn't really like the Puppetoon style, and I'm not the biggest fan of Dr. Seuss's stories anyway. Not the way that a lot of people are. I've got nothing against them though. If you're a fan of the story, I'd love to know how it compared to the images that are in your head. I assume that you probably had the Dr. Seuss picture book, so there would have been illustrations in that probably don't compare to this, which I think is probably an interesting distinction because a lot of animated adaptations of Dr. Seuss are very similar to his illustrations because it's easier to do with animation. But when you have puppetry, it's obviously going to look a little bit different. So I think that's probably an interesting aspect, even though I'm not the biggest fan of Puppetoon style or puppetry in general. I think it probably gives it an interesting twist. If I ever find the version with audio, I will absolutely update my opinions if they change, but I would love to know what you think of it, even without any sound. And to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street is pretty sweet.